Is there a way to create a healthcare system that Americans can love? All Americans? Representatives Mike Bishop and Sandra Levin are here. And the City of Detroit's official chief storyteller, Aaron Foley, on his unusual job. Today is Sunday, July 9th, 2017, and this is Flashpoint.
Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. Hope you had a great holiday last week. And with July 4th behind us, our elected leaders can return to Washington to resume their work on the nation's healthcare system. Presumably, they have had an earful from voters back home, but it just feels, well, a little doomed. Right now, I honestly don't know anyone who loves their healthcare plan, so try to imagine for a second a healthcare system that you really love. One that meets all of your needs. One that doesn't empty your pockets either in premiums or in deductibles. You're not afraid to get sick. You can afford medications, and you don't sit on a waiting list for procedures. Now, can you imagine us actually having that? Nope, I can't either. That's part of the problem. As a nation, we have such divergent thoughts on health care that I have, I guess, what you'd call a crisis of imagination in seeing a day when all of the competing voices come together at the Capitol and emerge with something that makes everyone happy. Given the huge divide over the basics, over whether health care is a right or a privilege, it just seems a bridge too far. Well, why can't we build a better mousetrap? This morning, two members of Congress with very different views of looking at the problem will try to find some common ground. Republican Mike Bishop and Democrat Sandra Levin. And a little later on, he is Detroit's storyteller. No, officially, he really is Detroit's storyteller. We will talk with Aaron Foley this morning on Flashpoint. It has not been easy to keep the focus on any single issue. Just about the time we start talking policy on one matter, another boils up, followed by a distracting tweet and a testy news conference, and all of a sudden we're miles away from that conversation. So this morning my aim is to stay on point when it comes to health care, which is among the single most universal concerns for us as Americans. And to help me do that, very happy that the schedule's aligned, and we are joined by both Democratic Congressman from the 9th District, Sandra Levin, and the Republican Congressman from the 8th District, Mike Bishop. Thank you both very much for being here. Delighted to have you here. Congressman Bishop, let me start with you, because as the party in charge, you've been through the experience of seeing one party unilaterally try to create a system, now kind of going at it that way on the Republicans' behalf. But I want to start with the basics that I mentioned at the beginning. Do you see health care as a right that Americans have, or is it a privilege?
Health care is not an enumerated right as per the Constitution, but it's a major concern for all Americans, and it's having served as a business owner and a father, I can tell you that this issue is something that is a concern to all. Now that as I'm a member of Congress, I talk to people every day who share their concerns about health care. And that's precisely why we, as the Republican Conference, have decided to go down a path to try and fix what is currently imploding and is very burdensome on all Americans. So it's our responsibility, it's our oath of office to ensure that we address this issue instead of just letting it pass by.
I'm not the first to point out, though, that you've had 7 years to create a better system, and that answer doesn't seem to be there.
Well, the effort, I've been there for 3 years, and there has been a strong. I'm not washing my hands of the responsibility, but what I've seen up front is that this has become such a political issue simply by virtue of the fact that the name of the Affordable Care Act is Obamacare. And it has divided the parties in two so that it's impossible to have a discussion. There's no ability on the other side to come across to try and repair what ails this current system. And as a result, we've snowballed into a very negative death spiral that is causing great concerns for all Americans.
Which is why I'm trying to host this conversation between you two this morning. Congressman Levin, I think we are more likely right now to hear from Democrats the belief that health care is a basic right.
True.
Not enumerated, though, and in the Constitution, not enshrined in any way, and that divide seems to be one that does keep you all from talking to each other.
I don't think it's that. I think the problem is that for years and years, we tried to have health care universal, and it was opposed by the Republican Party. Finally, when we took over, we passed ACA. And now there is a major impact for health. Healthcare isn't imploding. In Michigan, for example, the rate of uninsured has been cut in half. You have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who now have health care who never had it before. 50,000 people have Medicaid coverage they never had before.
But you'll grant, though, that the ACA does have these problems. We've got counties that are down to maybe in some states no health care providers. We've got premiums that have gone up for a lot of people. I mean, it certainly wasn't a panacea.
Nobody expected it to be perfect. But in Michigan, you have 10 insurers. So there isn't that problem. There's no county in Michigan that doesn't have access to insurance. So the notion that it's exploding is simply wrong. There are problems, there are issues that need to be resolved, but you can't improve a program by repealing it. And Representative Bishop numerous times has voted to repeal it, and they've never come up with a plan that could pass. The plan they came up on the House side essentially meant that Michigan, the 60,000 people with expanded Medicaid would lose it all. Seniors were going to have their health care costs increase because instead of 3-to-1, the ratio, insurance for seniors could be no higher than 3-to-1. They make it 5-to-1.
It's interesting, Congressman Bishop, because you have the Republicans that you deal with in Washington. You also have a Republican governor here, though, who believes that, to Congressman Levin's point, that the expansion of Medicaid has worked pretty well in the state of Michigan. Where does that leave you?
Well, the House plan actually worked with the governors, and Governor Snyder was one of the governors that we worked with, and that's why our plan doesn't get rid of expanded Medicaid. In fact, it keeps expanded Medicaid in place, and those that are on expanded Medicaid would continue down that path. So it doesn't in any way yank the rug out from underneath these people. It was intended for that purpose, to ensure stability in the marketplace, especially for those with pre-existing conditions and those who need it the most. The idea of government-run health care, however, is an antipathy to this country and what it stands for. We have families and businesses who want to provide for their families, for their businesses, for their employees. They simply can't. They're priced completely out of the marketplace. Over 50% of the people who are eligible for this expanded, Obamacare chose not to accept it. They chose to pay the penalty instead because they can't afford the premium, and even if they could, they can't afford the health care on the other side. It doesn't work, and the solution is not to sit here and talk about it anymore. We've got to find a solution. Whether or not we agree today is one thing, but we do have to find a solution. Look,
you talk both ways. You say that government health care is an antipathy, but then you say you want to save Medicaid. But actually, the Republican House bill would cut Medicaid nationally by about $700 billion. That's what you would do. In terms of the governor, what he said was that your plan would adversely impact people in Michigan and increase the cost of insurance for seniors. That's what our governor said. And you can't duck that. And you can't say you want to save Medicaid, but government assistance in health care, it's an antipathy. What about Medicare? You voted for a bill that was going to voucherize Medicare. You voted for that bill in 2015. You also voted to block grant Medicaid. So on the one hand, you say you want to stand up for programs that are affected and supported by the government, and then you vote to essentially eliminate them.
This is a rapid-fire exchange. I don't mean it to be that way because it's not helping the overall discussion.
But it's true, isn't it?
Actually, let me just
what I said, what isn't true?
Well, let me tell you, begin with your discussion about state-run Medicaid. I happen to know a little bit about this because I served in state government, and I saw the pressure that Medicaid put on state government. We cannot afford our Medicaid anymore. We have got to figure out how to solve this problem and stop just throwing money at it.
But your Republican bill would cut Medicaid support for Michigan.
It would not. It would not. It would just, all it would do was keep the current system in place and those that are on the current system in place. That's all it would do. It would stabilize.
Over time, it would reduce it, right? It would reduce federal support.
It freezes in place those who currently have
Over time, it would reduce federal support for Medicaid, right?
Over time, those that are on the plan would not change.
No, but those who are not on the plan and those who are an expanded Medicaid, they could no longer get on it.
I got to get a quick break. I think it's one of the frustrations that a lot of Americans have. You're both reading the same bill but seeing different things. We'll talk about that when we continue. This is Flashpoint on Local 4. Mike Bishop and Sandra Levin. Congressman Levin, there's this great frustration among Americans who watch this debate play out. I had this experience when I was up at Mackinac with a couple of your colleagues, listening to Fred Upton and Debbie Dingell talking about the exact same passage in that House bill. They're both reading the same words, but they both come away with very different takeaways as to whether pre-existing conditions were truly being taken care of and covered. I guess this is the lawyerization of America, that a lot of it boils down to the legalese that we see in these bills, but you're both seeing the same, voting on the same bills, reading the same bills, but seeing different outcomes.
No, but you know, it isn't legalese. It's differences about policy. CBO came out with its score. 23 million people were going to lose their health care over the decade, and 13 million would lose their health care next year. That's a fact. And in terms of pre-existing conditions,
I think the other side argues that that's not a fact. That is a fact, that that's a finding, but they don't seem to trust the CBO's ability to forecast that.
But you can, why not trust? It was headed up by someone appointed by the Republicans. And they're our official scorekeeper. And so you can't just shove them aside.
Why does the CBO score not matter to you and your colleagues as much?
It certainly does matter. But if you're talking about accuracy, you look back on how they scored the Affordable Care Act. They were way off on that and continue to be way off on that. The 23 million that Mr. Levin is referring to does not refer to those who actually choose not to purchase health care. They exercise their personal right not to purchase health care, and if that's what they choose to do as individuals, they can do that. And the current
a real right, though, in a country where we have laws that if somebody shows up in an emergency room needing care, they're going to get that care. Can you really sign away your right to have?
Under the current system, it's impossible for some people, especially younger people, to afford health care because the premiums are too high. They can't be forced into a program they can't afford. That's why we went back to a system that shifts that control from government back to the individual so that they can find a policy, they can construct a policy that's right for them. And when I talk about antipathy to the American way, I'm not talking about health care coverage. I'm talking about telling people, individuals, taking away their personal liberty to decide for themselves what's best for them and what's best for their family. That is contrary to everything we stand for.
You know, that attitude affects Medicare.
The freedom part or the?
No, everybody's covered by Medicare, by Part A. By the way, people who drive have to have insurance. And so when you talk about government antipathy, what it does is lead you to vote as you did in 2015, to voucherize Medicare and to block grant Medicaid, essentially cutting hundreds of billions of dollars from federal support. And that's what this Republican bill would do. It would cut $1 trillion in terms of federal support for health care while giving a tax break to the very wealthy and corporations. That's what you voted for.
Okay, full stop right here.
You voted for that.
Respond to that.
Did you not?
Go ahead.
Repealing the individual and employer mandate is a $1 trillion tax cut. That tax relief goes directly to all Americans, not to big business, not to the wealthy.
That isn't the tax cut in your bill. The tax cut was essentially taking off 3.3+% from the very wealthy in terms of capital gains. Much of the tax cut change was for very wealthy people and corporations. That's undeniable.
It's simply untrue. It's the whole goal of this health care plan is to shift, really, and Devin, this is what it comes back down to. It is a philosophy about government, really, that this comes down to.
In fact, I was going to say earlier, it may be more than the idea of right versus privilege. The real divide seems to be faith as to whether government can or should run this big of a portion of somebody's life. But I guess I would ask, why should I trust a for-profit insurance company any more than I would trust a government bureaucrat to make decisions about my health care?
Well, I think you already are. You've got for-profit insurance companies out there right now that are...
I know. Why is that? It seems to me that would be, if that's a wash at best.
Right, well, but the point is that if you get rid of the system that requires people to have a certain policy, you can bring back a system whereby there's competition in the marketplace. More people come in, more providers come in and compete against each other for providing these policies. And they don't provide policies that people don't need.
Congressman Levin, there is this suspicion among many on the right that all of this has been subterfuge, that really your goal still is universal health care, to have government take over the entire system.
I'm clear. We need to make sure that health care reform, ACA, continues and that it's improved. This was an experiment after 75 years.
Given your druthers, you wouldn't rather have universal care, which you mentioned earlier in the program?
I'm in favor of universal care, and ACA is a way to get it, and we need to improve it. And you can't improve something by repealing it. And this congressman and other Republicans have voted, all the Republicans together, 60, 65 times to repeal. Instead, what they should do is to sit down with us to see where we can improve it and not try to repeal it when there are so many people whose lives have been benefited. There are lots of people who like health care reform. And we're going to have a panel after this program with people who are going to come forth and say what ACA has meant in their lives.
And I'm afraid I've got to get to a break. We've got to leave it there. But I think it gives you an idea of the kind of conversations that are taking place at our Capitol. Thank you both very much for being here this morning. You bet. When we come back, we'll talk to Aaron Foley, storyteller for the city of Detroit. Welcome back. Aaron Foley knows how to tell a good story. Last time he was here, it was to talk about his book, How to Live in Detroit Without Being a Jackass. But the former editor of Detroit Black Magazine is now officially a storyteller. That is his position with the city. Very good to have Detroit's neighborhood storyteller, Aaron Foley, back on Flashpoint. Aaron, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me back, Doug.
So when the mayor first approached you about this, which is not a job that typically anybody has seen advertised or even heard about, your thought was?
I did not know that the mayor and I were thinking so alike in many ways. He had been reading a couple of things that had been written, including the book, for a while, and he approached me and said, "Well, why don't you do what you do now over on the city side?" And I thought about it, and I said, "Well, what can the job title be?" And at first it was going to be director or executive or whatever, and I'm like, I'm not an executive. I'm just a guy who tells stories. And like, oh. There it is, storyteller.
I love it. It was just that organic.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I imagine, though, you've also heard from people who saw, because not all of your comments about what was going on in Detroit were necessarily positive, not always at the time supportive of things that the city was doing and the mayor was doing, that you had been bought out and taken, that the best way for the mayor to, the old thing about keep your enemies closer.
Yep, I mean, I've gotten all of that, like, oh, he sold out and he did this. But here's my thing, okay, I'm from Detroit. I have lived in Detroit the majority of my life, and if I can have some sort of say or influence in the government that serves the city, that raised me, that brought me up, why not? And some of the things, okay, I've been honest. I think I've always been honest about my perspectives about the city. And that's definitely like what we need on both, in and out of City Hall. If you can bring some of that honest perspective into City Hall, then I'm for that as well.
In fact, I'm going to assume that was part of your own directive to yourself. If I'm going to do this, it's going to continue to be on an honest basis.
I've got to do it for me, but not just for me, but like the people I went to high school with, the people, my friends and family that are here. I mean, we have a lot of stories to tell, and we want to have our voices heard just as much as anybody else. And then, it's not just us, but also the people who have lived here 40, 50 years. Detroit, as you know, there's a wealth of stories here, and we need more ways of covering it.
I love stories. I think that's really what our lives are all about. It's a collection of stories when you get right down to it. Tell me about the stories that you want to tell now that you think are most important to tell in this official capacity.
There's a couple of passion topics I have, one being immigration here in the city. The demographics are changing. We're seeing different communities come from all different countries making a home here in Detroit. I'm seeing communities I have never seen before growing up. I want to tell those stories. I want to tell the stories about, you know, every department that I'm working with. They all have that one story about an older woman or an older guy that's been living in the same house for 50, 60 years. They're never going to leave. And that I want to know, like, okay, what keeps you here? What keeps you here in Detroit? Why do you love Detroit that much that you are here in this neighborhood, no matter where it may be? Also stories of, I mean, frankly, people of color. There's a lot of things going on. I think about Social Sushi and Eric Thomas and all these young, people out here doing their thing. And sort of amplifying their voices just a little bit more, so we can make sure that we see ourselves and that maybe somebody else can be inspired to do some of the things they do. And
eventually you're going to have a lot of different platforms over which you're telling these stories. That's the part you're building right now, correct? Absolutely.
So we're going to start off with a website that we haven't picked a date to launch it yet, but it's going to be this summer. We're really anxious to get it out. A cable channel is part of this as well. We're going to take one of the city's 4 cable channels. So I've become a TV producer. I'm doing what you do.
That's right.
Producing some content from the neighborhoods on this channel, and then forthcoming. So we know a lot of people in the city don't use the internet, or they just don't watch TV. A lot of people are cutting the cord and things like that. So we want to do a print publication as well. We're still trying to figure out how frequent that publication may come out, what format it will be, but we want to hit people in as many different ways as we can.
With a city, though, that is changing as rapidly as this one is right now, and with all the places that it's been, and right now just watching us trying to figure out what we call what happened 50 years ago, for example.
Yeah.
How do you measure, how are you going to measure whether or not you've broken through and told the stories that are most important to you, or if you've just gotten distracted by the story that's in front of you? You know what I mean?
I think the reaction will be best measured by, if people want to open up to us. If we come with a couple of examples, like we've been reporting on people so far, and we show other people, like, hey, we want to hear from you. We don't care where you live. We don't care what your situation or circumstance may be. If people feel inclined to want to share their story with us, I think we're doing our jobs right.
Well, I'm with you. It's going to be fascinating to watch, because this is a city with just an untold number of amazing stories.
Absolutely.
Aaron, thanks for being back on Flashpoint again. It's always good to see you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
And we'll continue to watch the progress and wait for the website coming out this summer. Meet the Press coming up next here on Local 4 right after Mitch Albom's Heart of Detroit. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time.